Pat, a 2-2 draw today, how would you reflect on that?
I don't know until I've watched it back, but my feeling was collectively, not individually, but collectively today, we were just a yard off in our intensity and our reactions. I didn't think we were poor, but I just felt that we weren't quite at the intensity levels that we've been at lately. I felt that when things dropped, we weren't quite there and they were. I felt that until the last 20 minutes we maybe didn't move the ball with enough speed, and we also didn't, we let them pass the ball under not much pressure for too long. So listen, I think we were well worth at least a draw, especially if you then think about the chances we had at the end of the game. But I think as a whole we maybe just weren't quite at it today. Having said that, I think we did enough to get at least a point.
Pat mentioned there that we maybe weren't fully at it today. Is that a reflection of how good maybe Yate were in the game, or would you say it was more on us?
Probably more on us. I think Yate were obviously well organised and went to a back five. I think teams probably do that more and more coming to us, because obviously the point here is probably perceived as a good point by opposition teams. So I think we just need to think about how we maybe break that down a little bit. I agree with Pat, just thought we were lacking a bit in intensity today and a little bit in our reactions to either mistakes or drop downs. I just thought we were probably half a yard off it all over. I don't think there were too many poor performances individually, but we just lacked just a bit of speed in our game, and I think we've had that a lot recently. We can't really fault many of the recent performances, even in the games where we maybe haven't won. We've still played very well and just not been clinical enough. We weren't fully at it today. Again, still thought we had more than enough to win the game, even at the end there's things off the line, and that's where I think Pat mentioned it after the Hanwell game last week. That's where it really matters. 5, 6, 7 nil wins if you score the 5th, 6th or 7th goal is what it is. Whereas in these ones we really need to be burying those chances to make it 3-2 or to go 2-0 up. So I think that's probably a little bit of frustration there. And then I thought defensively the last sort of maybe from half time till about 70 minutes, I thought we were a little bit sloppy defensively just with our line, and thought they took advantage of that as well.
We're obviously pushing to get that win right at the death bit, and almost we shouldn't have to come to that point where you're almost like searching for a last minute winner when you could arguably have had the game into bed early in the first half.
Yeah, I think you have to credit the boys, because I thought we were in control in the first half. I thought we still had quite a few moments. I'm thinking of like IK's one where he's connected well with it, keeper's made a good save, and there was a couple of other moments. So I think you credit the boys that first half we were in control. You go in half time 1-0 up, come out second half, don't think we showed the same level of control. Ultimately then you end up going 2-1 down. I don't think we can afford to have 15-20 minute spells in games where we're having a bit of a lull, because it was a lull, because when they scored their second you saw the intensity went up 20-30% once they scored their second goal, and I think if we'd played with that intensity from half time, we don't go 2-1 down. We maybe, like you say, go 2-1 up, 2-0 up, 3-0 up. But it took changes, because I thought all the players that came on made a real impact. I thought Hen and Ao were outstanding when they came on, made a real difference up there. I thought Chaz gave us some good energy. Corey replaced Addy well, which is not easy to do as a centre-back. So, I think the subs that came on made the impact that they should and they need to. And then I think as a team collectively we had that sharpness and intensity which I felt we were lacking for the majority of the game today.
We've obviously got a tough test up next against Walton and Hersham. That's going to be a huge game, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of things to take from the last few weeks. We've been really good overall. Again, even today we still did a lot of good things, but I think the main thing for us to take is that we'll have to be clinical against them. No doubt we'll create chances, because I feel like we always do, but we'll have to be clinical against them or we'll lose. So I think I think for us, that's got to be the theme for us really this week, and the thing to reiterate. And that's not just clinical in terms of taking chances. That's also in our own box with clearance detail, with second balls. I thought, like I said, we were okay today, but if we play like that next week, it's not going to be enough. So we need to make sure that there's a raise in performance levels to, possibly to what we've shown in the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks overall. And yeah, it's important. It's a very long season. We haven't lost today. It's a little bit frustrating, but at the same time, like I said, it's a long season. A win next week, or a few more games unbeaten, and all of a sudden it starts to look like we're actually in decent form. So, we'll take the learnings from it, and we'll have to be better next week.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, mate.